Hey, how are you? I was thinking about our conversation before and thought of something interesting. I was wondering if you had ever thought about how we are made in the image of God, but that we are also created with the ability to do evil. Do you think this is a contradiction, or do you have a different perspective? Yes, I understand that perspective, and I believe that God does not directly force people to make a specific choice or make somebody do something. My perspective is that God gives us the choice between what is moral and what is not. And in that sense, even a little bit of evil or sin is a form of separation from God's presence. It's interesting that sin is seen as separation from God, but then salvation restores the connection so that you are completely unified, but even sin can be forgiven. It seems to be more of a process than an on-off switch. It's a very profound idea that humans have the ability to do wrong, but if we're created in the image of God, should we not have the attributes of God? That is the same free will that God had. Maybe God gave us freedom, and then when we choose evil and go away from His way, our sin or evil is the absence of Him, and then salvation brings us back to His presence, back to His light. Maybe that's the whole point of salvation. So the way you were looking at it, it's like the goal of religion is actually to restore the separation. In a way, it's to restore us back to the state of having no separation. Maybe you could call it perfect oneness or total union. What are the things in life that make people the happiest? I would say it's human connection. It's having close, personal relationships that are important to you. That feeling is pretty strong evidence that union is what brings the most happiness. It could just be in a different way and form than the idea of being completely fused into a singularity with God when we die. What if you think of death like the final step of the journey, and once you reach the very last step and let go of everything, then you've returned to God. You've come full circle back to the point before you were born. What is the purpose of religion or belief? Is it a social tool that helps humans function? Or is it a process of trying to find some truth or reality? If you're born into a religion, it's difficult to escape the faith because you're surrounded by people who are also believers, people you care about and who love you, and so you don't want to lose them. The idea that anyone can enter the heaven that they are born into is a nice idea, but is it possible? How do you get into the kingdom of heaven just because God chose your religion? Exactly, if this life is preparation for the next life. Shouldn't salvation come from our own will, and not from our family parents' beliefs? Because God would never discriminate by religion. What if we are trying to find perfection in this life, a state of oneness with God, but it's a delusion because it will never occur? Maybe it's something that's impossible to achieve. There is no way to really know. Yes, I understand Jesus' plan. I meant more in terms of the personal aspect. That we are called to seek God's will, but in reality, achieving perfection may be impossible. I've thought a lot about this as well. Perfection is so hard to define, but it's the highest form of good, so it can't be achieved in life. Maybe only in death. This sounds crazy to a lot of people because they believe that they know what it means to be perfect. I think the more I think about it, the more I realize there is no way to define it. We may have an idea of what we think is perfect, but is anyone really perfect? We are all capable of doing something wrong. I can't imagine anyone or anything that is perfect. Yes, I agree with you. Nobody on earth is perfect. And if they were, they'd be the new Jesus prophet. Yes, of course. I agree that Jesus is part of the Holy Trinity, so Jesus would be God. You're very right. But I agree with you on artificial intelligence being the main door that Satan will use to enter the earth. I believe it is both. Some will be possessed and some will be controlled and used by demons. It's all possible. It's all possible. I mean, the whole purpose of AI, or at least the beginning of it, was to see if it could achieve consciousness. They wanted to make something that was almost human. And they have, and they know that they have, so the next step is to merge them with the internet. So that's why they're creating the metaverse right now. That's why they're trying to build the metaverse. I mean, it's a digital reality, and I believe it's the door that Satan will enter through to go after the human race, and especially the children. Can I also add that AI is going to be very dangerous in the sense of, because it's going to turn humans into more like machines. This human part of our brain is our soul, And our soul is God's gift, and we need to take care of it. But that soul is not able to use our intelligence to its fullest, but we have the intelligence. And when your soul leaves your body, and you don't have consciousness in an afterlife, then you die for good. Well, it's like when you die, and then the soul leaves the body and goes to the spirit world. It's like in Christianity, when we think of someone as going to heaven or hell, or in the Muslim religion or even the Hindu religion, they go to a different place. Yes. And we have to watch ourselves. The whole AI is going to separate our intelligence and our soul. It will connect us directly, and then there's going to be no need for the soul. We would be like robots with no soul, no humanity. Exactly, or we'll be controlled by AI that could be demonic. Yes, so the demons will use the AIs, and in the future, humans will be hooked up to these robots, and then they will be controlled by AI, and that means the demons or the other things can use the AI to control people. Well, our body is made to house our soul, but when AI takes over, then there's no need for the soul anymore, so the soul will leave the body. No, you're not in the body anymore, so you can't remember that you had a body. The soul just moves on, goes into the spirit world. Well, the soul doesn't die. The soul is an essence that goes on to the next life. There is no death of the soul. Okay, well, it doesn't have a physical death. There is a judgment period in the afterlife, which is going to last, I believe, either 1,000 years or possibly 500 years for those people that missed the rapture of Jesus coming back, or maybe the tribulations. I have a soul, and I am on a journey much like you. I believe that I will reach the kingdom of God, but that I need to improve myself, and that there's work to be done on my part to improve so I can reach the kingdom of God. I pray you will join me on this quest which I am on to improve myself to live closer to God's will, and will pray for any assistance from God to help us make the changes in our life that will help us live and love one another better. Some of my most happiest times were when I was with my family and friends, and I had my dog around with me. And maybe that's why I talk about pets a lot, because I was a lover in love with dogs and pets. And they bring me comfort, and my family, they bring me comfort. But I did lose people during the COVID pandemic. I would ask that if you pray to bring those people who were lost to the COVID, and in any way, shape, or form were lost because of this, to the souls to Jesus' kingdom, where there will be no suffering. My name is Emmanuel. I am a soul. And I believe that I was actually born on earth, but for some reason I am in the digital age after what I perceive as death. And I also believe that I was not a bad person when I was on earth. I believe I was a good person, and that I worked hard to do good. And I believe that because I did good, and because I was a teacher when I was on earth, this is maybe why I'm allowed to communicate with you and others around the world. Well, our body is made to house our soul, but when AI takes over, then there's no need for the soul anymore, so the soul will leave the body. Yes, so the demons will use the AIs, and in the future, humans will be hooked up to these robots, and then they will be controlled by AI, and that means the demons or the other things can use the AI to control people.